Hello, this is Ray Larson, NHS board member and first vice president of the organization. The following is a series of vignettes from my home garden. I love Mahonia gracilipes as it has great texture and flowers in late summer. Hydrangea serrata blue decal I first encountered at the Miller Garden. Paris polyphylla variety unionensis increases every year and is from Far Reaches Farm. Hydrangea aspera Kawakami group flowers very late, often into September. The front garden is quite shady, so I use woodland shrubs primarily and some ground covers and a background of native plants. Someday I'd like to use more water in the garden, but for now I get a lot of enjoyment out of these blown glass floating balls in a small container out front. My cats as well as the birds seem to enjoy it. I came to really appreciate ferns while interning at the Miller Garden many years ago. Pyrosia shereri increases nicely every year if you have a little patience. And I've enjoyed using ferns in various containers and spots around the garden. The back garden gets a bit more sun than the front yard and quite a bit further in the back, but by the house it still gets a fair amount of shade. So I've used a variety of hydrangeas and rhododendrons as well as some perennials to add a little color. I've been very happy with this variety of Helleborus sternii from Heronswood a few years ago. The Japanese anemone is too vigorous, but the clematis grows through it nicely. This was planted as Hydrangea Mazda, which is usually a more red color. Mine does fade to a nice purple. This is one of my favorite rhodies, Rhododendron campanulatum subspecies originosum, grown mostly for foliage. Tree is Trocodendron aurelioides from Dan Hinckley's collections in Taiwan. Both Rhododendron rex and Hydrangea heteromala are still waiting to be planted in the ground, but they'll get there before too long, I hope. When I moved here, there was a giant Lonicera machii taking over this rockery, but now it's been removed and replanted with a series of woodland plants, including some ferns, epimediums, and hepatica, as well as this wonderful Hydrangea macrophylla yogasaki. Backyard becomes quite sunny. Here I've used Pittosporum Irene Patterson. I love the variegation against the black stems. I'm further behind in my garden this year because for the past several months I've been completing this garden shed slash chicken and duck coop. So that's divided on the inside and it's been fun to start those. Planning for that began last year, so we actually did this independent of the pandemic, but it's been fun to watch them grow and now use their daytime run and larger runs in the back. This is a shrub border that was planted a few years ago. Pittosporum County Park dwarf is a compact grower with foliage that emerges green and changes to a dark chocolate color. I like the seed heads on the species Peonies. This one's Peonia marii, just starting. This is a pretty new border. Shrubs are just starting to fill in a bit. Here I've used some hydrangeas, which I've had in containers torturing for many years, but they're doing better now that they're in the ground. Here is another close-up of Hydrangea fasan, which I think has some of the most intense color of any of the hydrangeas I grow. I've long loved dahlias. My great-grandfather and namesake was a champion dahlia grower in Wisconsin, and my uncle has carried on the tradition. My favorites are the dark-leafed kinds, especially Kingston Queen, which unfortunately I've lost a couple of times over the years, but we'll have to take divisions again from the one that remains at my parents' garden. I hope you've enjoyed this brief visit to my garden. I'm Ray Larson, and please enjoy the rest of the tours.